2018 GSL Season 3 Rock Shear. The genius that was born again in the dawn has grown to be the king. But the battle is only about to begin. Take your opponents down, or you will fall down under their feet. There will be only glory for the winner, and pain for the loser. Rise up, higher, ever higher. Or fall forever. GSL Season 3. This is Rock Shear. Somebody's gotta do it. Yeah, someone's gotta get it done for all. Somebody's gotta do it. If there's somebody else.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another day here at the GSL Codas. Day 2, we have our two-time champion of this year, Maru, playing. So I'm expecting to see him get out.
No, I think he's going to get eliminated. I think Forte will probably 2 on him.
Yeah.
And I think Leenock probably beats him in the finals there, 2-0.
We definitely have two players today who should move on, Maru and Deer, but upsets do happen.
Yeah.
Deer has been a little bit tough to predict, but the real story so far here in this GSL Codas is that Rainer is a God King Emperor.
Yeah, he's pretty darn good, taking out Classic in that final match. It's one of the best matches I've ever seen. Game 2 specifically there. Definitely go watch that. You know what's really funny, Tasteless? Last night, I believe it was, last night, he played in the qualifiers for the Summer Championship of Lima League and beat Classic 2-1. Eliminated him from that as well.
What is going on, man?
Yeah.
So here's
kid's on fire.
Our player lineup for today: Maru, Forte, Leenock, Deer. Leenock, similar to what we had with Ryung in day 1. This guy's a veteran of the GSL. He's been around for a long time. He's consistently in tournament play, top 32 in the world.
Yeah.
But can he get out of a group like this? Deer had that crazy upset in his group last season, where he managed to survive, not just survive, I should say, come out first, dominate. So you have to expect him to get pretty far here. Forte, I think he's a great player. I just don't know if he's seasoned enough.
Yeah. It's a funny group because those two are so favored. Right. We'll talk more about that in a minute here.
Okay, I believe we're going to be introing our players in our new style. Over here to Maru.
뭐라예요?
He says, well, I don't know what to say.
저번 시즌처럼 꼭
All these
우승하도록
seasons?
하겠습니다.
I guess just like the last season, I'm going to win this time around too. Okay. All right. I don't think we're going to be using this format for next season, Artosis.
Well, you wait. Pardon's going to pull it all together for us.
So our other player who's just now come back, it's Forte.
오랜만에
Hello.
올라왔는데 열심히 해보겠습니다.
So I'm here in Codas. I'm going to play my best.
이번 예선에서 김대엽 선수를 꺾으며 18번째 코데스를 기분
In
좋게
the
올라왔던
quarterfinals, this
이동영
player managed to
선수입니다.
beat Stas and get to the next round.
안녕하세요, 이동영입니다.
Hey everybody, I'm Leenock. And I'll see you guys again in the round of 16.
지난 시즌 최고의 경기를 선보이며 오랜만에 8강에 올랐었죠. WCS 랭킹 10위 백동준
He made it to the
선수입니다.
round of 8 last season.
네, 열심히 준비한
It's his handsome
만큼
face,
좋은
dear.
경기력으로 올라가겠습니다.
Hey everybody, I practiced really hard for today's matches. I look forward to doing my games. So I think what we've really done here, Artos, is we used to joke about how Innovation and Maru both did not exactly have great interviews. Well, now we've just leveled the playing field. We've nerfed it so that all the players kind of have about the same.
Well, when the first two are that
interviews.
short, the other two I think feel obligated to be short. I think that this is like, here's the thing, okay? This is this funny, like, dichotomy, I guess you could say, between the old days and the new days. Because, like, back in the day when there was actually media coaching for all the pros in Korea from Kespa,
Right.
they gave much better interviews, but at the same time, everything was kind of policed, so
it was a little bit more bland,
yeah. Yeah, but they would speak better, it would be longer, they'd say more, but at the same time, their real personalities want to come out. So now we've taken the shackles off of them, but that's where we find out some of them just don't have that personality built in yet.
Or don't feel compelled to utilize it before a match. They're like, I'm going to go into my game now. Bye.
Yeah.
I'll show the game.
Well, I mean, yeah, I wish, I don't know, I want to just take over one of their bodies for one of those interviews.
Warg inside.
Yeah, and I just talk until they're like, okay, listen, you got to go now. You've been talking for 5 minutes, just rambling.
You warg inside, and then you end up with a Hamlet skull in your hand, and you're given a 5-minute speech, and they're having to cut you off, and we go in the opposite direction.
Something like that.
So this is definitely a David versus Goliath match. If you saw the previous points, ones everywhere and lots of zeros. Right now, Forte, 200 points here with his WCS ranking.
A little bit lower than 10,000, but
yeah, a little bit.
So here's a couple interesting things about this match, right? First off, obviously Maru got to choose Forte, so he views Forte as the weakest player.
Right.
Which is funny, because Maru just keeps talking about wanting to avoid Terrans. He feels better about his other 2 matchups. He's basically said, I don't want to play Terrans, I don't want to play Jin Air players, right? But here he has chosen Forte. Now, a year or 2 ago, Forte started to come up, but kind of disappeared. Right. He's still a very good player, but again, there's too many good Terrans in Korea.
It's true. All right, we're going to go into our first best of 3, Maru versus Forte.
Oh, man.
Of course. By the way, it's Maru who's sending the 2 SCVs out right away.
Maru has a 5 o'clock dinner reservation.
You kidding me? Try a 3 p.m. movie here. He's going to be out of here in no time if this starts to work.
Gas first for Forte, so not necessarily a greatest counter here.
So it's going to be a double proxy racks up here?
Yeah, it'll be Reapers coming out immediately. Well, I mean, Maru, this is the way Maru operates occasionally.
Well, I think that, you got to think of Forte, how much planning and prep he put in here, and what Maru's going to do is just upend all of that and try to come here with a very quick closer.
The one thing that's actually very nice is that Forte gets his second gas. Now, this isn't obviously the best thing in the whole world would be to go to barracks first and make a bunker, but
we love you back. Thanks for coming down, brother.
But basically what this means is he's not even trying to make a command center, so a factory should start very quickly here, immediately after this barracks. So that's good in a way, he'll be able to actually get out a Hellion and then a Cyclone possibly, something like that. And if he has really great micro and great reactions here, then maybe he can hold.
The question though is that, Forte already probably expecting to have, hoping to have a great game against Maru and beat him, but probably cognizant of the fact that, all right, this is not likely that I'm going to make it. This might throw him off a little bit. The adrenaline might spike here for Forte. When you got someone like Maru and you're going, oh my god, the disrespect, he's rushing me right away.
Yeah.
So let's see. That Reaper does not spot the barracks.
No, but it is sitting there. Okay, where is it? Where's that stuff? Okay, he sees it before it gets fired at. So this is really good. Now, see, the Hellion's already being made. He's going to have to pull a lot of SCVs immediately. This is a very difficult thing to micro. He's making a second Reaper, so that's good. Oh, what?
Is it his mind? Am I crazy?
Not sure. You're definitely crazy, though.
I bet that much is for sure. This SCV is going to go down now.
Yeah, that's a very good pickoff that the SCVs are gone. So no bunker gives him a much higher chance. So Forte is actually handling this very well. He's only lost 2 SCVs, or actually that's Maru's 2 SCVs, rather, sorry. And yeah, there's a lot of Reapers here, but he's making a second Hellion. He should be able to eventually clean this up.
Yeah, the SCVs are starting to get picked off here.
Ooh.
Yeah, loses 1 Reaper, and now a second one goes down.
And that's held. That is basically held. Get up that ramp! Get up that ramp! Oh my god, you're making me so scared. Oh.
Okay, he takes them all out. That means that there's nothing that can come out of the barracks that should be able to get inside the main.
Yeah. So Forte actually has a nice lead at this point. Bam, look at that. Yeah, he lost a little bit more here as far as SCVs, but obviously, you know, Double Rax Reaper hasn't done anything. His tech is far further along.
You know, I think Forte is handling this quite perfectly. I mean, he's also left the right amount that he can combat what comes out of the barracks while still sending 2 Reapers southbound to go inside of the main here of Maru. And this is actually forcing Maru to continue to make some Reapers over there, or at least it was.
And look at this, the 2 Reapers from Forte getting up into the main base of Maru. He's going to have a Cyclone, but still, this is some serious damage. He's seen what's going on, that there's a command center on the way. Obviously, there's a factory there.
Yeah.
But that is a ton of intel. And this is looking nice for Forte, seriously. You watch, I told you Forte's going to 2-1 Tasis.
Now, you were right all along, Artosis. You know, it is funny, though, because when you get a player that's been dominating like Maru, and maybe this comes to us as casters, but kind of no matter what he does, we're like, at least in the beginning, like, oh, wow, he's so good, this is going to work. Yeah. Forte's in trouble, and you know what? No, Forte has definitely experienced this. It's not like this is a rare or uncommon build. Everybody's experienced this in TVT, so Forte's in a good spot. Now the question is, can he keep it together and get the closer? Because Maru is still a player. If you put him in a bad position, he knows how to wiggle his way out of it.
Yeah. Well, we shall see about that. Like, Maru's really getting a lot of defense going. He's focusing on building Cyclones. He's going double command to try to catch up economically. And he already has a Viking out to stop any Liberator play, which is a very common way to counter anyone who proxied you.
Okay. Just narrowly pulls away the SCVs there. One is taking out the one making the depot.
Wow,
now the
why is he running? Okay, there you go.
Okay, and I think he will not, he does not get that shot off.
Yeah.
An occasional mistake that happens is someone does a rush, like we saw Maru do to you, and your response is to actually lean too hard into the counterattack. And a lot of times what happens with moments like that is you end up balancing the game out. Now, in this case, Forte's still ahead, most certainly in supply and workers, but you know, let's see how he handles the next few moves. Because a few additional overextensions here by Forte, and I think Maru's going to be very happy with the way this game's going.
Yeah, he definitely can catch up in ways like that. But, you know, I think the initial Liberator, it's like, oh, okay, you know, you kind of like killed one SCV and made him lose a little bit of mind time. It's not good, but he's all right now. And he's getting the right units. Like, for instance, he already... Ooh.
Oh, this is funny. You know, a lot of these SCVs were damaged earlier on. So that Viking landing actually got 3 SCV kills, which is crazy for a landed Viking.
Yeah. Nice nice quick damage there. Quite a bit of lost mining time as well, but... Oh, run, Forte! But look, he actually has a Raven, and Maru has gone into Cloaked Banshee. Now, Maru Cloaked Banshees are slightly different from other players. Okay, he actually catches this out in the middle. This is really good for Forte, because now he knows it's coming, and he can really pay attention. If the first one gets in, you're kind of out of position. Sometimes you lose a lot right away.
Yeah, not to mention he had to spend the money on the cloak. Or I spend the energy on the cloak, rather. Yeah. So this is going to be revealing itself pretty quickly here.
But yeah, Maru is the... it has always been this way, where when Maru starts making Cloaked Banshees, he oftentimes doesn't stop. And that goes with Widow Mines and stuff like that, too. He'll be like, no, I'll just harass forever.
Now, when this is all said and done, it's actually Maru with a worker lead, believe it or not. 37-35. Now, Forte was, I think it was 22 supply ahead here. And, you know, he had definitely a position he could try to capitalize on, but it didn't seem like it went quite as well as he would have hoped.
Yeah. A little bit of harassment here and there from Maru has really done quite a bit. Hopefully Forte's production can kind of get back online. His eBays are a little bit quicker, so that's kind of nice. His stim is a bit quicker. That's nice as well. He's not really defending the Banshees that well, to be honest, even though he knew they were coming. But,
you know, even if he loses this Banshee and he doesn't, Maru's now just continuing to get further and further ahead here. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's Maru. You know, you kind of expect that, and it's a good thing in a lot of ways, right? Like, if you get behind a little bit in the early game and someone in his 4th GSL that's not even expected to necessarily make it into Code S can suddenly beat the 2-time in a row champion and best player in the world currently, that's probably not a good thing. So, Maru showing that his skills can pay the bills, as they say.
Well, he's also showing how elastic his playstyle is. The fact that he can get into a bad position and so casually get ahead with it. handle every single instance basically perfectly. And we're just seeing the growth rate here from Maru. It's just so impressive. Now, Forte's not doing a bad job. I do want to point that out as well here. It's not like Forte is being clumsy whatsoever.
He's got his third base up. His upgrades are a little bit ahead, so if he nails that armory very, very soon here, he can kind of maintain at minimum parity on upgrades, which is very, very powerful. But the question is can he like maneuver well enough against Maru as they get into similar spots? It's a really big map, and we haven't seen a lot of the long TBTs here. I'm trying to think of the TBTs that we've seen on this map. They've all ended quickly.
You're totally correct. They've actually been pretty intense, short matchups. But maybe this will be the game we do have a long TBT.
Well, it definitely is gearing up to that, right? Because Forte kind of got a little advantage early on, and now it's somewhat even at this point. So, this could go into a long TBT, which means it comes down so much to outmaneuvering your opponent because there are multiple paths here. There's a lot of little areas where you can kind of siege up behind a wall and use that to cover some Marines and things like that. So, that's kind of the next phase here of this game.
Forte looking to push out here. His 1-1 finish not long ago. We see infantry armor about to wrap up here from Maru. Yeah. But it's not clear there's an easy location to actually attack into. So instead he wants to set up a positional location here. He could take out the sensor tower, and this might allow for some more flexibility on other locations to attack into.
And Maru with that air dominance right now, he does have the additional Vikings and all, so that makes it a little bit harder for Forte to really set up siege tanks and utilize them correctly. See, this is I really like these slightly more tech-heavy Terran versus Terran armies. If you can control that air, you're not going to have to use quite as many scans. You're going to be able to push back medevacs, and the amount that your opponent has to scan, like they have a limited amount of time that they can sit there sieged, because otherwise you just push in yourself with your siege tanks.
And every time you're forcing that scan, I mean, we're only on 3 bases. That's one less mule.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If you're keeping them on their toes like that, it can really start to stack up. So Forte setting down his own sensor tower. Even though Maru's handled his early on bad position pretty well, he was, for the most part, on the defense in a lot of this game, with occasional harasses to try to balance things out. Now, we see a scan over here, and this does spot Maru's medevacs, but we don't see any movement over there just yet.
That's a super quality scan. Really, the fact that he sees that moving out is so important. By the way, I have to point out that, Maru is so good right now. It's really crazy. We've been talking about that so much. But specifically, his TBT, the way he's playing this, he looks completely like TY. If you cover up these nameplates, I bet you money that it's TY as this blue Terran. The way that he's playing kind of, obviously the very opening of it is a very Maru opening, double Proxarch's Reaper, but if you look at this, how he's kind of setting up, he's got the extra Vikings to control the air, setting up his sensor towers, sitting back, but sending out a couple medevacs while he's trying to grow at home while getting his upgrades. Very TY-esque. But, again, that scan was very good.
Whoa. Now, Vikings can be overlooked in a TBT as far as value, but if you have enough Vikings, you could drive away their medevacs and the opposing Vikings, and then your tanks get that extra range shot, unless they're scanning you, and of course, that's never ideal. So, a pretty big pickoff there by Maru.
Yeah, what Forte was trying to do there was to catch medevacs that were flying in. Unfortunately for him, losing his Raven that was basically just full energy for a long time, as well as 2-3 Vikings, is a bit rough to say the least. Now he does get his 4th up just slightly later than Maru. Both players continue to expand because, again, the map is so large that, even if you're maxed out, you can't hold all the positions correctly.
There's really only one more base for each side that's pretty easy to hold. Everything else is it's ambiguous as far as whose territory it is. Looks like Forte is going to drive Maru back over here.
And by the way, I really like this from Forte. He's stayed on top of his upgrades. As soon as 1-1 was done, he started 2-2. As soon as 2-2 was done, he started 3-3, which we haven't seen from Maru yet. But Maru is getting 1-1 for his vehicles, right? Whereas Forte's just focusing on air attack. So just kind of a cool little difference between the two. That kind of tells us that we should be seeing more air units here out of Forte. Maybe he really wants to win that Viking battle, whereas Maru's like, no, siege tanks are good, and I want those. Right. I want those to work well.
Okay, Marines coming up now. A lot of dogfights here in the middle of the map. It looks like Forte could win this one, but does? Yeah, he does. He finally closes that one out. Meanwhile, down here at the bottom, Maru pushing forward, but has to stay out of range of those tanks. Yeah, it's not clear that anybody has a definitive lead. I mean, it's been a back and forth game. But at this point in time, we're getting into late game TBT. We have a lot more command centers coming down now. It's going to be interesting because the diagonal expansions from the upper right down towards the bottom left, nobody necessarily owns those. You could have one player expand towards the upper right while the other expands to the bottom left.
That's very true.
I'm not sure because we don't get to have a lot of games on this map, TBT especially. We're still unpacking it, especially late game TBT. I'm really excited to see where this goes.
This is the most normal late game that we've had in GSL on this map yet, I think.
A lot of TBTs ended like 2 base versus 2 base. Or proxy all-ins.
Yeah, like basically every game, every matchup here so far has ended very quickly. But now that it is into this kind of big map scenario and they both have so many bases, we'll see. Eventually someone might outposition the other, get into a sick position, and just have a big advantage, but it's going to take a bit to get there.
Okay.
Oh my God, he got high-capacity fuel tanks here for Forte. That's really, really cool. So longer boosts on his medevacs.
I like it.
Well, it's such a big map.
Oh, hold on. He's going to come in. He's disabling these tanks. And this should be a pretty big win for Forte here, taking down those tanks and driving away the Reigns and medevacs.
I love that. I was wondering about the Corvid reactors. I'm like, no, it can't just be missiles again. I don't like that. I don't like that. Change the Raven. But no, I mean, Interference Matrix, I'll watch that all day long. It's such a cool spell.
It's funny because Maru had a pretty sparse army out there on the map. I mean, Forte, you know, there's been moments where Maru is began the comeback, but Forte seems to be able to climb back on top of the hill every time.
He's playing really, really well. You know, he did have that early advantage. Sure, Maru caught up in those SCVs, but Forte hasn't missed a beat as far as upgrades go. I really like that he used that Interference Matrix. He's kind of playing a little bit more of a defensive game than Maru right now. Maru does have a very strong air army at the moment. Oh, I guess actually the Viking count goes to Forte slightly, but he has half as many Ravens, and that definitely does make a difference.
Okay, Forte trying to edge out here. Keep in mind, Maru is ditched, earning territory in the upper right. This map is starting to look like an insane Venn diagram with the number of circles that are spread out over here. And Forte is actually going to try to utilize his economy to almost oversaturate the map with bases here.
Yeah. This is a really, really cool game that we're watching right now. I'm loving this.
It's interesting as well because both sides, no matter where you start, bottom left really is quite far away. It's going to be hard for Maru to get down there.
Yeah.
The natural branch that you would take would lean more towards the upper right. Out of the 2 corner bases,
it feels like that. It feels like bottom left. The area itself doesn't matter. All that matters down there is an expansion, whereas the top right is kind of like closer to some bases that you're more likely to fight over. I'm
not clear. Does Maru know about this bottom left location?
I believe that he does.
I would imagine he has to be scanning that, right? But maybe there's too much shuffling of the armies in the middle of the map, and the scans are prioritized there. And this, I'm hoping that Forte knows he has a base there too, because he needs to send some SCVs there, land some mules, something.
That's a good point. Okay, so right now we can see continued vehicle and ship weapons coming in, as well as armor here for Maru's units, and the fusion core coming in for Maru. So, you know, it gets really interesting, especially in the late game. Obviously, the bio is very strong, and you can kind of run around very mobily with that. But when you start trying to push into each other's tank lines, things like Liberators become very strong. So if you get that fusion core and you get up your Liberator range, that is definitely one way to break a tank line. You can actually just push it all back through the air if you have that air advantage. Of course, you need some siege tanks so their Marines can't overwhelm. But it feels to me like Maru's getting into a better overall set of like upgrades, and the way that he's pointing his upgrades, I feel like it's really smart for this kind of supreme late game TBT that it looks like we're going to get into.
Okay, we have a scan here in the middle. Maru wants to try to sprint up over here to the northern location. Keep in mind, a lot of Forte's army has actually been in the center left. And with this tank line over here, it's going to be pretty tough for Forte to break this. But Maru's not advancing any further here. We're still not seeing Forte use that bottom left base, and this is becoming alarming to me because he has a positional advantage, but he's not capitalizing on it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he gets to that, but very busy elsewhere, it looks like. Oh my god, so many missiles coming out, very few units dying. You can really see that nerf to the damage.
So Maru's backed up over here. Again, Forte, no SCVs in the upper right or the bottom left.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the bases, so he's done a fantastic job in that regard. But it would be nice to at least drop some mules. Looks like just a placeholder planetary down the bottom left. Probably he'll do that in the top right as well. But I definitely agree with you. If he can just suck up a lot of resources from mules ASAP, it's good. But here's the thing. Scan is more important than mules right now.
That is true.
The scans are actually way more value. Like, sure, a mule, okay, it gives you 300 minerals more quickly. At this point, they're going to mine out a lot of the map. So, you know, obviously sucking up extra resources is very powerful as well. But the scans for positioning are, like, the most important thing because your army is worth way more than, like, the 5 mules that you're spending making sure you don't lose your army suddenly.
Okay. Forte going to come in here and contest this location. The tanks are in such a position that you really can't try to keep your command center over there.
Yeah.
Now, we do see this attack up here on the upper right, and that will be another gold-based location that Maru could try to take. Again, it's unfortunate he never used those bases. The upper right has the gold bases, where the bottom left is just a mineral-only base.
So many interference matrix coming out. He's got to move, though. It doesn't last that long. Get in there, Forte. The interference matrix is coming off. Some counter ones on Forte's tanks.
The connections are quite nice there, but Forte's not really able to break this position. In fact, he hemorrhaged a decent amount of his army. We saw his supply plummet. Now, that being said, Forte actually has more minerals as well as more gas banked up.
He has to be a little bit quicker next time because he got some amazing interference matrices, but you have to jump on it. That spell does not last very long. So,
well, that also dropped his tank count. He was at 4 tanks after that, where Maru's at 9.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah,
Maru's going to be able to control multiple locations on the map here.
And Forte losing another base. The multitasking might be catching up with him a little bit, or lack thereof, I guess. Also, you know, I love that he got the medevac booster. Oh my god.
What am I even seeing here? This is madness.
Yeah. Those Terran units are brittle enough that you can still utilize mass.
Yeah, if you have enough of that.
Mass anti-armor missiles.
You can just keep spamming it out. It'll kind of work.
Over time, I mean, it still does some stuff. Too bad, though, that he's kind of, like, he had that base in the bottom left for a very long time. Took a while to transfer SCVs, and then kind of a half-hearted defense on it. Sent down a couple Marines on an attack, but they just died to 2 siege tanks that have, like, plus 3 attacks. Okay, so just now getting the fusion core here for Forte. You can start to get into some of these other units. Of course, I really find it interesting how, well, this is a nice counter move at least.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a funny thing that's happening here in the bottom left because it's never really been a fight over the resources. It's been a fight over the position to one day utilize those resources. Yeah. But I'm worried that Forte is devoting too much of his attention down here to the bottom left because the gold base is going to get gobbled up very quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, you know, Maru, for all he cares, can actually ditch that location and use all those gold minerals that he's gotten to do a full-on push and then isolate that final expansion that really can be contested.
Yeah, I totally do agree with kind of what you're saying. Whoa, those are some sick anti-armor missiles there. Maru has to run. But yeah, if Maru can suck up those minerals in the top right really quickly, this is one of Maru's powers, right? He's such a good multitasker. He just immediately started mining over there. So that's going to give him a huge advantage over time. You know, his income, if you just look at the actual mineral income, like plus amount, he's mining almost 1,000 minerals more a minute right now because of those bases. So definitely
it's
something
pretty wild
to think about.
Okay, here we go. A lot of anti-armor missiles being fired out here.
Oh my god. Well,
is this enough to break this position? The planetary's gone down. I think Maru got the job done here, to say the least. Yeah, you know, it seems like Maru a little bit bigger, faster, and stronger here. So the CC's going to land again. Their SCVs will be sent over to this location.
Both of them actually, you know, they're both kind of remaxing out, and they have a about a similar bank. So Forte's still doing pretty well cost efficiently. I'd like to see the actual value of what they've lost against each other. But these missiles are just getting a little bit crazy.
Okay, a scan over here. Again, you know, the brilliance of Maru pushing that top center base for Forte is that he's indirectly actually protecting his two gold bases.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. The fact that his attack like covers a base, I mean, that's a very old concept in StarCraft, but so strong.
It really is. Forte trying to edge in now. He's starting to dwindle here on his income. I mean, his supply is actually plummeting pretty far below. He's able to try to catch back up to Maru, who's already maxed out because he has such an incredible production. But I'm a little bit worried here. Forte needs a win, and he needs it pretty quickly. The bottom left is still not being taken. Forte's minerals are running out in all locations back at home.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, but it's worth repeating. If Maru just uses up all the minerals in these top right bases, he can, if he dries those out, those patches, he can then use all that extra money to push down to the bottom left. We already see how many more minerals he has in his bank right now. About 2.3K.
Yeah, he is starting to really bank up here. And Forte is pushing one of them at least. But overall, I feel like the micro of these Ravens goes to Maru a little bit as well. He's doing a very good job of kind of flying in bravely, setting off the first missiles. And then Forte's like, oh, I should do this too, and goes in. But Maru's kind of ready for it, you know?
Wow, great pushback here from Maru.
Yeah.
If he can just get those tanks in the north. And it looks like he's going to dive on that right now. These Marines not quite in position. And it's just infantry now. Infantry and Ravens, I should say. And I believe Maru should be able to inch in here with some of these tanks and then once again re-secure this gold.
Look at how many Ravens there are. 21
It's getting
Ravens.
to the point of comical. So
Yeah.
it's 21 Ravens to the 9 here of Forte. And even 9 for Forte is quite a bit, but the 21 here for Maru is just insane.
That anti-armor missile was insane. Well, I tell you what, if this is actually, is this TVT? Is just mass anti-armor missile?
This might be what TVT is, Artosis.
Jeez, we haven't seen
where we're at.
We haven't seen a lot of long game TVTs, and the ones we have, a lot of them that we've seen that have gone a little bit longer have been like, I remember seeing some, who was it? Gumiho versus someone, Mech versus Bio, and was TY Gumiho maybe last season, something like that?
Yeah, we're at least seeing standard versus standard unit comps and how that bridges into Raven versus Raven.
Yeah, the fact that Maru's going mass Raven to win this game is, well, it is what it is. He's shot about 1 million missiles so far, and over time they have definitely gotten him a lot of value. But keeping these gold bases in the top right is really what is sealing this game for him.
Well, I think Maru pretty much is guaranteed to win here. I think Maru, even if Forte had perfect play from here on out, it would really be more up to Maru to make several huge mistakes in a row. We've seen the supply slump and the growth really slow down here for Forte.
Yeah, Maru's got 4 to 5 times his income now.
That's right.
Insane.
And, you know, that income that Maru has, he's just stockpiling it. He's stockpiling it for the next big fight. We may have one more engage where Forte barely survives, and then Maru remaxes out and goes in for the kill.
Yeah, I think he's actually more waiting for Forte to leave. Forte has very, very little left. Like, I guess he can go over and poke him with his missiles again, but Maru doesn't have to do much here. Because Forte is just, like, you know, like, that's kind of like the best way to win TVT is if you get ahead is to wait for your opponent to leave.
Yeah.
If you get behind, you have to go kill him.
It's like the concept
like,
of okay, I'm in the lead. Now this is your problem.
Yeah.
You figure out what to do. I don't have to go kill you.
And you see Forte, definitely he's trying to get in here and do something, but the amount... Oh, 3 BCs in the way. Yes, please. The amount of Ravens over here are pretty insane.
And so they're both spamming out a lot of these anti-armor missiles, but, you know, it's Forte who's just not quite able to catch a break here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is it right here. Maru should be able to break this, and Forte is going to have to GG. Otherwise, the BCs are going to appear in his base. He's going to be very, very, very sad.
That's right. And a single tear will come down on Nathanius' face with a smile as those BCs are now being used.
Maru's using my strats.
Using my strats, guys. No, but I just don't see a way that Forte can come back. It's unfortunate, too, and it exhibits how strong of a player that Maru really is, because Forte was in a tactical position for a lot of, I would say, the first third or first half of this game.
Yeah. Oh, some good micro there by Forte.
Hello, GG. What a way to end the game.
Okay.
By the way, I've got these. Insult to injury.
Yeah. So, you know, Maru definitely got a little bit behind in the early game. I think Forte played a very good game there, though. That was a nice play from him. He kind of stayed in it, and when the game got even, you know, you had that advantage early, but when the game got even, he kept up with it, and he was doing a lot of good moves. Just Maru showing the power of the best player in the world.
Well, Forte is going to be feeling the hurt. I mean, that was a game where I think if there was a game that Forte could have won, it should have been that one. He so easily shut down the double proxy. He had control. He even had more bases for a period of time. He wasn't even mining from all those bases. I mean, this shows you, even when you have the top 32 in the world, which of course is the GSL, you're still going to have one guy, Forte, all the way down at the bottom, and Maru looking like a completely different level.
Yeah.
It's so cool how there's so many skill gradients in StarCraft.
Oh, yeah. It's wider than the rainbow.
You take a top 50 GM and then throw them up against, you know, some of these GSL Codes players, and it looks like a Harlem Globetrotter match. And then imagine the Harlem Globetrotters being Cirque du Soleil Artosis.
Cirque du Soleil.
That's right.
Is Cirque du Soleil better at basketball than Harlem Globetrotters?
Yeah, they're better at everything. They're doing weird positions with their bodies, and you know.
And then you got to come over the top of Cirque du Soleil and imagine them getting LeBron James.
Yes. Yes,
you know
Artosis. Yes, I know who LeBron James is.
You look at me like I'm crazy.
You're like, then he's going to get Tiger Woods. I'm like, I think we're just going in the wrong direction here, Artosis. We're going out of the absurd. Oh, my God. Okay.
Well.
Is there a second I see?
Oh, it's a proxy?
Oh, my gosh.
Double proxy.
You know when you get
proxy?
one of those pizzas where they use like 5 different kinds of cheeses on it? That's what
Quattro
this is.
Formaggio?
Yeah.
Well, that's 4 types.
That's fine. Four is fine as well.
Yeah.
They're both cheesing so hard.
Yeah, but
what does this game look like?
One is double and one is single. What does it mean?
Nobody knows. That is the question.
Is he too old to stop Rainer? I love it. Maru basically middle-aged compared to Rainer.
This is where we're going to find out that the younger and younger players just keep getting better and better.
Yeah. We're going to have a 5-year-old winning.
That's right. Eventually it's infants coming on board.
Yeah.
Can't even give their own IDs. Their parents have to ID them.
Yeah.
Okay, so as Artosis said, it's double racks versus 1 racks. And I believe he's going to make the factory out here.
Yeah, so he's going to have 0 at home. I think that just having the more Reapers will end up just winning the game, but...
No, I think Maru wins this, right?
Yeah, I think
Sorry, guys,
it's a straight-up win.
This is a little bit outside of our expertise, but from our judgment, I would say, look, if there's 2 Reapers coming out here, the damage to your SCVs is going to happen so much more quickly. Yeah. The factory can't be utilized anywhere near as fast. It's not even done yet. Yeah. This is what we would call a snowball game.
Here's what I think occurs, right? Maru sends 2 Reapers up, and then maybe sends Reapers towards his home. Or he could send all his SCVs across the map. For Forte, all his SCVs should die. So I think there's some possibility a Cyclone can get out, and Forte can win because of that. Now, Forte has to be shocked that this is occurring.
Just look at his face. We have player cams in here.
His head is tilted sideways more than normal. So these SCVs, I don't even think that this is correct to chase. I think you actually just let your SCVs mine and get as many minerals as possible. But the fact that Forte is also doing this to SCVs, if you get a Cyclone and get it onto your high ground, right? If you send a Cyclone across, could that do it? But no, there's enough. I think your Cyclone... Here's what I think has to happen, right? Forte has to kill all the SCVs of Maru, float his command center over, and bring a Cyclone up. And then he can hold that position at least, right?
I don't know.
Oh, a Banshee. That could definitely do it too, huh? He has enough money for one Banshee. And he has a Cyclone, right? Yeah. So this like...
But then he needs a way to hit the... Wait, he has something to hit air units, right? He has a Cyclone.
Yeah, he has a Cyclone, but there might be a spot on the map you can float to where a Cyclone does not reach. I'm not sure of that, but he has. It doesn't matter because if he has an SCV still, and he does have one, I don't know where the hell it is. I guess it's over at his proxy. That should have been sent into the main with the Cyclone. So that actually might lose the game because he can drop mules.
Oh my God, hold on,
right?
hold on.
Wait, well, yeah, okay, so you can get the SCV. That's super important.
So now we're going to find out how fast can Reapers destroy a building because he knows his Banshee's coming out.
Oh, wow, wow, wow.
Oh my God, but this Banshee, that just does it, right?
Well, Maru can float around and just like, what do? Do you chase the Reapers?
There's
do you
locations,
chase the command center?
Sorry, there's locations on this map where you can park a CC, right, and it can't be touched.
I don't know about that actually.
I'm just not sure.
I haven't been in any base trades on this map against Terran, so
I think in the upper left and the lower right, there's a vacant area where there's no way you can be hit from the ground.
Cyclone anti-air range is pretty big. So Maru's mining. What do we have for units? We should really go to the army tab.
Now, here's what's a little bit weird about this is that Maru's still mining while this is going on.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Forte is really...
He is mining too.
Yeah, I don't know if he's appreciating that, though, because the Banshee really needs to stop the mining first and foremost. Not find the buildings, not kill the Reapers, right?
Well...
Now, does he have enough for a scan at the CC? Ooh.
Yeah, the Cyclone might just end up being enough. Okay, this is a big kill here. To get these Marines is gigantic, I would say, because you kind of need those to help out.
Oh my God! Cyclone solo.
Yeah, gotta repair that.
Go, 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 go. He pulls away. Well,
it's funny the way that Forte's playing this. I mean, every base trade is like a
beautiful snowflake.
Yeah, they're
just
all
like each of our viewers.
Different.
Okay, now he's going hard on that Cyclone again, but the damage output from the Banshee and the Cyclone, you got to be careful. These Reapers, you know, we don't normally see Reapers used in this situation, but keep in mind, guys, they are very brittle units. Now, Forte is supply blocked. We got to note that. There's a depot on the way, but Maru has the opening to make a little bit more.
By the way, there was a depot for Maru that wasn't killed, so that actually helped him a lot this game.
Oh, good point. Good catch there, Ortosis.
And that's one thing you saw when Maru was in the space trade. Immediately after that, SCVs were dead, targeted depots, and then went out on the map. Because it's like, it doesn't matter if they have gases. That's, who cares?
Now, the Banshee is not here to defend. But the Banshee can come up here and start to take out mules and SCVs. It looks like he thought it was over there.
Yeah, he doesn't know where the command center is right now.
It's kind of hiding in plain sight, too, when you really look at it.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
He wishes that Banshee was home right now.
Yep. And he's going to try to push them up against the wall. The Cyclone taking some damage. Will it go down? Oh, my God. Unreal.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no SCVs now. That's it. GG. Wow.
Crazy base trade.
Crazy game. Oh, that was a treat.
Yeah,
we don't get a lot of games like that.
No.
By the way, the utter disrespect from Maru. Second
proxy.
time around, double proxy.
Double proxy.
Well, Maru, I got to say the results I'm not surprised by. The way he tried to play that out was interesting. He's not going to show any of his normal TVT, ladies and gentlemen. He's saving it.
May as well. You know, that's some of the players that might actually be able to eliminate him this time, like Innovation and TY, possibly Beyond or Gumiho or something.
Yeah.
You know, those are some of the players he's most afraid of. So.
He's keeping his TVT in the labs for now, guys.
Or maybe he's showing exactly what his TVT is.
Maybe that's what we're all supposed to be doing. All right, guys, coming up next, Leenock versus Deer. Stick around with us here, the GSL Code S.